A doctor once shared a startling truth. Most of my patients had no idea that something was already growing inside them that could take their life. They went about their normal routines, eating, sleeping, laughing, completely unaware of the silent threat developing within. By the time they received a diagnosis, it was often too late. The most frightening aspect of any illness isn't the pain itself. It's how silently it begins, hidden in what we consider harmless habits. Few understood this silent danger better than Dr. Shigeaki Hinohara, Japan's most celebrated longevity expert, who lived vibrantly until the remarkable age of 105. He wasn't just a doctor. He was a living example that tiny choices, made every single morning, can decide whether the body crumbles slowly with time or stays strong, clear, and resilient for decades. Dr. Hinohara treated tens of thousands of patients over his career. He discovered one truth again and again. Every morning, you make a choice. You either feed disease or you feed vitality. Today, we'll reveal the 5 powerful breakfast foods Dr. Hinohara trusted, foods that helped him stay strong, energetic, and sharp for over a century. Some you may already know. Others may surprise you. But together, they form a blueprint for living not just long, but living fully. If you already believe that small daily habits can change your destiny, type the word vitality in the comments and share where you're watching from. Your commitment might inspire someone else today. Now, let's begin with the first food Dr. Hinohara believed could protect not just your health, but your future. Food number 1, fermented soy. When we think about threats to our health, we often focus on what we can see and feel. But Dr. Shigeaki Hinohara, after decades of observing thousands of patients, noticed something even more dangerous: the quiet deficiencies that grow unnoticed inside the body. He found that many of the most devastating illnesses began not with an attack from outside, but from a slow, silent weakening within, often starting in the gut. Among his most consistent findings was the critical role of fermented foods, particularly fermented soy such as natto and miso. These weren't just traditional dishes passed down through generations. They were, in Dr. Hinohara's eyes, daily tools of survival. He had no doubt that a body fed with living bacteria was a body better equipped to fight the silent invasions that most people never see coming. Scientific research supports what he knew firsthand. Fermented soy contains Bacillus subtilis, a powerful probiotic that strengthens the gut lining and reduces systemic inflammation, along with vitamin K2, which plays a vital role in maintaining flexible arteries and strong bones. More recently, a long-term observational study conducted by the Osaka Institute of Aging Research showed that older adults who incorporated fermented soy into their diets at least 3 times a week had dramatically lower rates of heart disease, cognitive decline, and gut dysfunction compared to those who did not. For Dr. Hinohara, the message was simple and urgent. Every day you neglect your gut, disease gains a little ground without making a sound. His daily intake of natto or miso was not a matter of preference. It was a deliberate act of defense, a way to preserve clarity, strength, and resilience long after most had begun to decline. Feeding the gut, however, was only the beginning. Dr. Hinohara understood that to maintain vitality throughout the day, one needed more than protection. The body required sustained energy that wouldn't spike and crash, but instead nourish every cell with quiet strength. That brings us to food number 2, a simple, warm tradition that carried the weight of centuries of wisdom. Food number 2, warm porridge with barley or brown rice. Few people realize that many of the sharp declines in strength, memory, and resilience after the age of 60 don't arrive with a warning. They slip in quietly, masked by everyday fatigue, forgotten words, or joints that no longer move with ease. Dr. Shigeaki Hinohara, after treating tens of thousands of patients, noticed that this invisible decline often traced back to the same cause: unstable energy and chronic blood sugar swings, fueled by what people chose to eat first thing in the morning. Instead of starting their day with steady nourishment, many unknowingly chose foods that spiked their energy for an hour, only to leave them weaker and more vulnerable by midday. Dr. Hinohara observed that those who maintained their vitality well into old age almost always shared a simple morning ritual. They began the day with a warm bowl of porridge, made from barley or brown rice, not white rice, not pastries, not processed bread. These ancient grains, rich in soluble fiber and packed with magnesium and B vitamins, provide a slow, even release of energy that supports not only physical endurance, but also cognitive clarity. Research from the Osaka Institute of Health and Longevity, which tracked older adults over a decade, found that those who ate whole grain porridge at least 4 times per week had a 30% lower risk of developing type 2 diabetes and showed significantly better memory retention into their 80s. One of the patients who benefited from this change was Haruto, a retired school teacher who had grown frustrated with his daily crashes of energy. For years, he had relied on toast and coffee to start his mornings, a pattern that left him drained before noon. After replacing his breakfast with warm barley porridge, sometimes topped with a few sesame seeds or a spoonful of miso, Haruto noticed within weeks that his strength no longer abandoned him. His afternoons became productive again, his memory sharper, and the heavy cloud of fatigue that once hung over his days began to lift. Energy, when built slowly and steadily, becomes an invisible armor, guarding the mind and the body against the erosion of time. But sustaining energy was only one piece of the puzzle. Dr. Hinohara knew that protecting the heart, the engine of life, demanded a different kind of daily ritual. And so he turned to a centuries-old practice that, when combined with a simple addition, could transform a humble drink into one of the most powerful shields for longevity. This leads us to food number 3. Food number 3. Green tea with a slice of citrus. Many adults over 60 believe that once you begin losing heart strength or mental sharpness, it's simply part of getting older. But in reality, the earliest damage often starts long before anyone feels it, hidden deep within the blood vessels that feed the heart and the brain. Dr. Shigeaki Hinohara, after decades spent caring for aging patients, realized that the bloodstream is often the first place where aging quietly takes root. He found that one of the most powerful ways to protect this hidden network was to begin the day not with heavy foods or strong coffee, but with something lighter and wiser. A warm cup of green tea, combined with a simple slice of citrus fruit. Green tea alone offers protection. It is filled with natural compounds that help keep the blood flowing smoothly and the arteries flexible. But when you add a slice of lemon, yuzu, or orange to the tea, something remarkable happens. The good elements inside the tea, the ones that fight damage and keep the heart young, become stronger, stay in the body longer, and work more effectively. Researchers at Purdue University found that adding citrus to green tea can make its benefits many times more powerful, giving the body a better shield against the silent processes that harden arteries and weaken circulation over time. And these are not just laboratory results. A long-term study from the Tokyo Heart Research Center showed that seniors who drank green tea with citrus most mornings had a 33% lower risk of developing heart disease and reported feeling more energetic and mentally clear even in their late 80s. A small cup, a simple slice of fruit, yet together they build a foundation of protection that touches the heart, the brain, and every tiny vessel in between. It is a quiet act of care that requires no effort, no sacrifice, only the choice to begin the day wisely. But while guarding the bloodstream is essential, Dr. Hinohara knew that resilience also came from feeding the body at its roots, giving it the deep nourishment it needs to remain strong, grounded, and capable of healing quietly beneath the surface. That brings us to food number 4, a food of the earth that offers far more than sweetness. Food number 4, steamed sweet potato or pumpkin. For many older adults, the damage that leads to high blood sugar, stiff joints, and creeping fatigue doesn't announce itself loudly. It happens in silence, meal after meal, through the steady intake of foods that spike blood sugar quickly and leave the body scrambling to recover. Dr. Shigeaki Hinohara, after observing the aging patterns of thousands, realized that maintaining steady internal balance was one of the greatest secrets to living not just long, but well. He noticed that many who thrived into their 90s and beyond shared a common habit. They started their mornings with foods that came directly from the earth, full of fiber, minerals, and natural sweetness that didn't overwhelm the body's delicate systems. Among the most trusted of these foods were steamed sweet potatoes and pumpkin. Simple, unprocessed, deeply nourishing. Unlike processed breakfast foods that flood the bloodstream with sugar and then abandon the body to crash, sweet potatoes and pumpkin release their energy slowly and steadily. They are rich in natural compounds that protect the heart, feed the muscles, and keep blood sugar levels stable without creating violent highs and lows. They also provide beta-carotene, a nutrient that strengthens the immune system and helps maintain healthy skin and vision as the years advance. Research from the Okinawa Longevity Project, which studied some of the world's oldest living communities, found that steamed sweet potatoes made up over half the traditional morning diet, and that those who consumed them regularly showed not only stronger physical endurance but also better emotional resilience into very late age. Dr. Hinohara had no doubt that simplicity was the highest form of nutrition. He often reminded his patients, "The foods that ask the least from your body are the ones that give the most in return." He encouraged people to treat breakfast not as a moment to chase pleasure, but as a quiet investment into the future strength of every cell. Choosing a steamed sweet potato instead of white bread or processed pastries may seem like a small decision, but compounded over weeks, months, and years, it builds a body that doesn't just endure, it quietly heals, resists, and thrives. However, nourishing the heart and muscles alone wasn't enough for Dr. Hinohara. He understood that to live fully into old age, the brain, the control center of everything, also needed its own quiet protection. That brings us to food number 5, a small but mighty group of natural allies that help defend the mind against the hidden erosion of time. Food number 5, a handful of nuts and seeds. One of the most common mistakes people make as they age is assuming that weakness, brittle bones, and fading memory are inevitable. But Dr. Shigeki Hinohara, after working with patients across every stage of life, knew otherwise. He saw that the erosion of strength didn't happen because of age alone. It happened because the body's foundations were slowly stripped away, often by diets that lacked the essential building blocks needed to maintain resilience. Among the most overlooked of these building blocks are healthy natural fats, minerals, and plant-based proteins. Instead of avoiding fats altogether, as so many fearfully do, Dr. Hinohara recommended embracing a small but powerful source, a daily handful of nuts and seeds. These simple foods, walnuts, almonds, pumpkin seeds, sesame, are rich in the elements the body desperately needs to rebuild itself every single day. They provide essential fats that nourish the brain, strengthen the joints, and protect the nerves. They deliver magnesium and zinc, minerals critical for maintaining strong bones, steady moods, and a sharp memory. And they offer a source of protein and fiber that supports balanced energy without the crashes that so often follow sugary or processed foods. Scientific studies confirm the wisdom behind this habit. Research from the International Institute for Healthy Aging found that seniors who consumed about 20 grams of mixed nuts and seeds daily, roughly a small handful, experienced 32% less cognitive decline over 5 years compared to those who rarely ate them. They also showed better grip strength, faster walking speed, and fewer incidents of serious falls. For Dr. Hinohara's patients, this small handful was often one of the easiest changes to make and one of the most rewarding. He encouraged them to store a jar of raw, unsalted nuts in their kitchens, within easy reach, not as a snack of indulgence, but as a daily ritual of protection. One of his patients, Akiko, a woman in her 70s who had struggled with brittle nails, low energy, and forgetfulness, began adding a small mix of walnuts and pumpkin seeds to her morning routine. Within a few months, she noticed her hands growing stronger, her energy more stable, and her memory sharp enough to recall the small joys she once overlooked. Strength, Dr. Hinohara taught, is not something that vanishes overnight. It fades slowly when the body is neglected, but it can also be rebuilt, slowly, steadily, one small act at a time. And when it comes to living past 90, it is rarely one grand change that makes the difference. It is the small, almost invisible habits, repeated daily, that quietly shape a future of resilience, energy, and clarity. Throughout this video, we've explored 5 simple foods that, when incorporated into daily life, can silently transform health and vitality. From the natural probiotics of fermented soy, through the steady energy of whole grain porridge, to the cardiovascular protection of green tea with citrus, each dietary choice acts as a pillar in building a long and healthy life. Steamed sweet potatoes and pumpkin provide essential nutrients that strengthen the body, while a daily handful of nuts and seeds offers healthy fats and minerals that support the mind and heart. These choices, though simple, reflect the accumulated wisdom of Dr. Shigeaki Hinohara throughout his life dedicated to medicine and longevity. Remember, longevity isn't the result of sudden, drastic changes, but of consistent, small habits. Each meal is an opportunity to nourish the body and soul, preparing not just for today, but for many years to come. Now, we want to hear from you. Which of these foods do you already include in your routine? Or which do you plan to start incorporating? Share in the comments with the word vitality so we can follow your choices and, together, build a community focused on health and well-being. If you found value in this video and wish to continue learning about simple habits for a longer, healthier life, please consider subscribing to our channel. By doing so, you'll stay updated with our latest content and join a community committed to wellness and longevity. Throughout this video, we've explored 5 simple foods that, when incorporated into daily life, can silently transform health and vitality. From the natural probiotics of fermented soy, through the steady energy of whole grain porridge, to the cardiovascular protection of green tea with citrus, each dietary choice acts as a pillar in building a long and healthy life. Steamed sweet potatoes and pumpkin provide essential nutrients that strengthen the body, while a daily handful of nuts and seeds offers healthy fats and minerals that support the mind and heart. These choices, though simple, reflect the accumulated wisdom of Dr. Shigeaki Hinohara throughout his life dedicated to medicine and longevity. Remember, longevity isn't the result of sudden, drastic changes, but of consistent, small habits. Each meal is an opportunity to nourish the body and soul, preparing not just for today, but for many years to come. Now, we want to hear from you. Which of these foods do you already include in your routine? Or which do you plan to start incorporating? Share in the comments with the word vitality so we can follow your choices and together build a community focused on health and well-being. If you found value in this video and wish to continue learning about simple habits for a longer, healthier life, please consider subscribing to our channel. By doing so, you'll stay updated with our latest content and join a community committed to wellness and longevity.